Hey everybody. So problem I have with this truck is it last time I went out during a storm it shut off and died. It ended up starting back up. I checked the codes in it. The only code that kind of struck me as something that I hadn't been doing anyway was I believe it was the crank signal implausible or something like that. So I'm going to swap out the crank sensor. I'm also going to swap out the cam sensor just in case. I believe this engine will run off of just the crank. I think you can have the cam sensor unplugged on this engine because it's an 08. I think that year it started doing that. That's what I saw in a book I was looking at. Can't verify that without actually unplugging it and seeing, but anyway, it's something that I saw. So I'm gonna swap out the cam sensor, or actually I'm gonna swap out both of them, sorry. But the crank sensor is a bit difficult to get to and can be problematic to extract. I don't know how it's gonna go. Fingers crossed it doesn't break off in there and it's a nightmare, but you never know what's gonna happen. So first thing we gotta do, pull this fender off. It's three fasteners, 2 nuts, or a nut and 2 bolts. So we're gonna have a nut there, we're gonna have a bolt there, and we're gonna have a bolt there. Take them off and it just pulls off and it's right out of the way. It's gonna be almost impossible to show you where it is because I can't even get a light at it while it's crap in the way. But can you see it? All right, let's see. So directly behind that zip tie, see that plug right there? That is the crank sensor. That goes in. It's pretty long. It's like 6 inches long. I think it's 8mm bolt to get it off. You pull the plug off, obviously, and then it should come out. I might end up going through the doghouse because it looks like it might be a little easy to get to. All right, in case you're wondering how to get this thing out, there's a nut there, a nut on the other side, and then you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there was another flat one on the floor. Those are bolts. Somebody busted this up pretty good the last time they did anything to it. So yeah, that or it was just brittle plastic, but a lot of the stuff was broken before I even touched it. So what I did was kind of pull the bottom up and back, and I took the throttle pedal off, which is right there, and I removed the 4 bolts that hold the seat on and push the seat back to get this out. So I don't think it's going to fit out any other way. Somebody might be better at Tetris than I am, but this is how I got it out. All right, so I pulled the 2 bolts out of this lifting bracket. This terminal is live, so I shut the battery power off or disconnected. I actually just turned the night switch off, or the battery disconnect off. So I pull this out of the way. I figure it's a little easier just take the bolts out than to try to disconnect these zip ties because I don't have anything to replace them with. So that exposes our crank sensor right there. So I need to unplug it, which can be problematic. So I'll unplug that, pull that off, and I'll take the bolt out and try to start getting that worked loose and hopefully out of there in one piece, and we'll see how it goes. So I got that unplugged. I took a pick and I got under it, and then you got to push the tab in towards the connector or towards the doodad in general. So you can see the back side of it. So basically got to push this down and then it will come up and off. That scared me. Thought it broke. I wasn't putting a lot of pressure on there, but it's really just a tiny little bolt. There's that part. Now comes the fun part. Getting that out. Yeah, that's in there. So I seen a couple of theories on how to get those out. I seen someone said use kind of soapy water and just kind of work it around. People say use penetrating lubricant. I seen somebody said they used 2 screwdrivers and kind of got under it and popped it up. And I've also seen somebody say that it's easier just to break the top of that off and then rip it out by the wires or the metal terminals that go down in it. I'm going to try to not do that. I'm sure that will happen. I say the last case resort is if you can't get it out and it keeps breaking apart, then you can try to drill it out as much as you can and then knock the little piece into the flywheel housing, and then it will just drop to the bottom. You can't get to it from the inside. It's behind the flywheel, going right up against a tone ring that is on the crank behind the flywheel. So it's and it's on the top side, so it's not fun. But anyway, I'm gonna work at this and see what we can get done. All right, so exactly what I thought was gonna happen has happened.
If you need to stay in, I can load you right down here at the ground.
And the top of this broke off, so kind of knew that was gonna happen. I bent the screwdriver like this to get under it, and then I kind of came in the side like this with a pry bar, and I just kind of kept wiggling it back and forth to try to get it off, and lo and behold, it finally broke. And then one of the little terminals that were on there broke off, so I'm down to 1 terminal. So things are getting kind of dicey. So I took a little punch, and I stuck the punch in there, and I was actually able to tap it in a little bit, and then I was able to use this lead here, and I pulled it out a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, so it's moving. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna work on the rust up here, try to get the rust out of the hole right around here, because I think that might be what's kind of holding me in. And I want to at least get it as clean as I can before I keep pulling on the thing, because if I lose that other lead, I'm gonna have a problem. And I probably don't have a lot left on it because it's getting pretty thin. I've had to pull on it pretty good a couple times. I mean, there's a little piece of the other one left, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. So it's touch and go. So I mean, another issue I might be having with it is rust jacking, because there's a lot of rust underneath here, right there, and it might have been pushing the sensor up enough where it wasn't making a good, wasn't close enough. The air gap wasn't close enough. So I mean, that's a possibility as well. Either way, I'm gonna need a new one, just because, I mean, you can kind of see there's some deformation in there. It should be flat, so it was pushing up on it. I'm gonna work on this and try to get it out. All right, I was able to, I don't know if you can see much. It's kind of a crappy angle here. See if I can get you over a little bit more. All right, so I was able to kind of dig down in there and get that piece of O-ring out. So now that O-ring's out, because there's an O-ring up here and there's another one down below. I'm gonna try to hope this spray runs down along the sensor, because that sensor's about 6 inches long, and it goes into like a casting that protrudes off of the housing, and then it sticks into there, and it's got another O-ring down there too. It's kind of moving. I'm afraid I'm going to break it off though. So I'm going to keep kind of working on it and see if I can get it out. Well, I managed to break off the other little lead too. There's a little bit there sticking out, so let's see how it goes. I'm not super optimistic about it. It is moving, it's just not coming out. It's like hitting a wall. Probably because of the O-ring down there on the other end. Did we get it? Oh, yeah. To tell you the truth, there might be something to this whole soapy water thing. Because I was spraying penetrating lubricant down there. And I used quite a bit. So what I just did was I sprayed like some 50-50 water in there. So it's like 50-50 soap and water I sprayed in there, and I just kind of, worked that back and forth, and it's almost, I think it actually worked maybe better than the, I mean, I don't know. It might have just been luck. Come on, you thing. It's not going to come out of here. Damn it. That's what it looks like down there. Got a little rust on the end of that thing, huh? So, yeah, I wonder if a piece of rust flew off, and I mean, it is magnetized. So I wonder if a piece of rust came off there and got stuck to the tip of that, and it wasn't making its finger. I don't know, but anyway, that's that. We got it out. Lucky me, because I was down to, I got right down to the nothing left. Well, not much anyway. And managed to make it work. Cool. So I'll clean up the holes and stuff. Make sure I clean up the mating surface there and try to get whatever rust might be in there out and put a new one in. Alright, so this is the cam sensor part number. In case you're wondering, that's what it looks like. This is the crank sensor part number. Take it out. That's what it looks like. So we're going to install this, and we're going to install that, and put everything back together. I assume it's going to be my problem, but I guess you never can be sure without doing like some waveform analysis or actually catching it in the act. So the problem is that it started when I went to check, and I don't want to chance it. And that was, like I said, that was the only code that came up, was a crank sensor issue. So I mean, I guess it could still be maybe the connector on it, but I figure it's a pretty good place to start. So we'll put this in, put some grease or something on this to kind of lubricate the O-rings and try to keep it from seizing up in there. Alright, so I put some grease on there, especially on the flat surface that meets the flywheel housing, just so I can try to keep it from corroding and building up rust again so quickly. Ammo. Alright, so I took a drill bit and I reamed that top hole back to the size it was supposed to be. It closed up with some rust. So, let's see how this goes. If you can get the thing in there. There we go. In. That was easy. Who would have thought? All you do is get all that rust out of the hole. So I did blow that hole out with the air first, so there's no penetrating lubricant or anything in there, because the bolt won't go all the way in if you don't. That. Just want to check this plug. Make sure the contacts aren't spread. It looks like they're not great. Wonder if I get a yeah. Plug that back in. Alright, so I'll bolt this back up where it goes. Right there, and turn the power back on and see if it starts up. Make sure it actually is working. I think it'll be alright. Alright, so right there, that is the cam sensor. I'm going to change that out. I can't really get you in there to witness it, but trust me, that's how I'm going to do. So, just one plug and one bolt and it comes out and in. No problems, I hope. Like I say, that's the guy there. So that's what that looks like. Just in case you're wondering, this is how I'm getting at it. Just kind of reaching in there. Saying that you might be able to see me, I don't know. But that's how I got at that. So I got the doghouse back in, got the seat bolted back down, got everything back together, power turned back on. So we can check, see if it starts up. I mean, like I say, it was running before. I don't think that we'll have a problem with it running now. So, you know, this truck only has 41,000 miles on it. Anyway, so it starts up and runs. It's due for a service too, so I gotta do that. Change the oil and the filters and such. But anyway, so in case you're wondering, that is where your what's it called? I'm drawing a blank here. Your crank sensor is located right there. That's how you kind of pray that it comes out. And the cam sensor's up in the front there in the timing cover. So anyway, hope that can help somebody. Thanks for watching.